Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. Welcome back to February recap, what I've read this month. I really thought this video was going to be late. It's currently the last day in February, it's the 28th as I'm recording this right now. And I've managed to slip in one more book. I do apologise about this video, it's kind of slightly rushed because I did think that I was going to be extremely late on it. But it turns out it's probably going to be the March video that I'm late on. I now have my house keys, like my new house I mean. I've done this video kind of mismatched, so instead of doing what I said that I was going to do in January, where I was going to like read a book, film my kind of reaction, I rushed that because obviously this video I thought was going to be late anyway. So as you'll see in a second, it looks like I'm changing clothes. It's not. I just recorded that about a few days ago. I can't remember now. But I've just finished the last book of February. And again, there's not many books. But like I said, I've only just got the house keys. So for the last week or so, I've not really been focusing on reading. In the last couple of days, I've gone from getting the keys to my new house, being happy, like being so happy, for the happiest that I can actually remember, to then yesterday getting a parking ticket and then my car immediately right after that failing its MOT. So I've been I've not been having the best few days, so I'm a bit behind on my reading, guys. I had plans of doing a reading for 24 hours straight video. I thought, oh, that'd be great because February, yes, I can obviously mention them in this video, but obviously those are going to be solely be for their own video. And I wasn't going to obviously go into detail in this one because I was going to go into detail in their own separate video, but I thought it could still boost my numbers up and I can hopefully read like 5, 6, 7 books in February. Nope. I've currently only read 3 full books. I don't have my phone on me, so I'll add a picture of it in a minute, but I've got 2 books here that I've fully read. I've got another book which I'm going to add the digital image on screen because I don't have the physical book, and then I've got another book that I've also started. I also treated myself. I've been wanting to get this since it came out, The Brightness Between Us. I got it in hardback because it's not even out in paperback yet, so I've got it. There's this is, I think I mentioned this. If you've seen my massive, huge book haul, this was one of the books from there. I was expecting to like this. I am only on page 59. I started this 30th of January and I've not even read half of the book. I am bored of this book, guys. The very first book, which is technically a loophole because I didn't read it in February, I read it in January, Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. It's more of like a novella. It's only 202 pages long, so it's not even that much of a big book. It's good. I really liked it. I started reading this on the 26th of January. And I finished it on the 30th of January. I'd already recorded, edited, and uploaded my video of all the videos that I've read in January. The video was done, so I was like, right, I'll be sneaky. I'll add this on to February. But then I was like, well, no, because if anybody ever finds my Goodreads, they'll see that I didn't actually read it in February. So I thought, may as well just be truthful. But I'm going to add it into February anyway. First 3 genres on Goodreads will say this is a horror, romance, LGBT book, which is nail on the head. I forgot to mention this whole video is not going to contain spoilers. Rosemary meets Ash at a farmer's market. My review on Goodreads, sorry for looking at the screen, I'm going to read it off the screen. I was addicted to this book as much as the main character was to Ash. Loved the intense rapidness of how quickly it progressed and the fact I went in blind and enjoyed the suspense that led up to the ending. This book was simply to honor alive for. The only reason I didn't give it a 5 stars was because there was a few things that didn't need to be included. It almost made some parts predictable. We'll look forward to reading other books by the author. When does infatuation become an obsession, or like when does obsession become a fixation or something? Because it's almost as if I'd obviously recently... No. It's up here after the forest, it's witchy. It's basically Hansel and Gretel. At the farmer's market is where Rosemary met Ash, who's selling things. It's really good at hooking you in and getting you kind of intrigued in where it's going to go. It's almost as if I thought Ash was some kind of sorceress because, or witch, I'm not American. She'd buy cupcakes made by Ash and then she'd become obsessed with these cupcakes thinking like, oh my god, these are the best cupcakes I've ever had. And she'll go back like week after week after week and I'm like, is she doing something like the same as what Greta did? Ending was really good. I would love a sequel, but a sequel probably wouldn't happen. 4. So this was a 4 out of 5, guys. Next up isn't the book I'm going to review. I'll get back to that again in a second. But I just want to put that out there that this, I started reading and then gave up. I started reading this on the 18th of January. Can't remember what I said in my other video about the January recap, but I think I was trying to get this into the video but I think I was bored of it, and I think I might have mentioned in the other video. And then I picked this up, that was it, because I started this the 19th and I finished it just before the end of January, that was it. So I started this, put it down, picked this up, finished this before I even finished this. So there was a lot of picking up and putting down of books this month. That was it. I picked this up, I believe. I'm still literally on page 59. And I must have put this book down about 6 times because I'll probably read about 5-10 pages and then be like, yeah, I'm putting it back down, I'm bored of it. So this got picked up and put down a lot. So I think this is why it contributed to the lack of books that I've read this month, other than the fact that I've been very busy with the house, obviously. Next up is, I'll put it on screen, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. It's my very first ever digital book that I've ever read. It was on Amazon Prime for free. I was like, I'm downloading that. And then I had it on my phone for ages, forgot about it. But I sometimes use those public washer dryer machines, like not washers, but like, because I've got a washing machine, but I don't have a dryer. There was one day where I was like, I've got to sit here for an hour now. What do I do? So I was scrolling through my phone, bored as heck. I see the Kindle app. I'm like, Kindle, I've got books. So I looked at books and saw obviously Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So I started it, put it down again, picked it back up again, because I would only kind of read it when I was out and about, like when I was doing stuff where I got like free time and I was out of the house. I gave Pumpkin Spice Cafe a 4 out of 5. Another 4 out of 5, guys. It's part of a series. I also read this because I got the second book. I got this, and this is technically a sequel to Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This has got 4 chili peppers on it on the back. I'm guessing Pumpkin Spice was less than a 4 because it was spicy, but it wasn't that spicy. Pumpkin Spice Cafe and my review. I've made it a new thing to stop going into books with expectations. The only thing I was really expecting was there was a few things in the middle that seemed out of character and jolted from one thing to another and was stressing me out as it didn't seem to fit with the structure of the book. But I managed to eventually overlook that, as I still enjoyed the overall experience. I'd lean more towards the word cozy to describe this kind of book. We'll definitely be reading the rest in the series. So I did enjoy this book. If I tried to read it all in one go, it might have been a bit overwhelming, because I've said this to my friend, like, I don't really read romance books. I'm more of like a horror sci-fi kind of person. This was my first spicy book as well, guys. I just want to point out, I have never read a spicy book before. I've got 4th thing up here behind me. Apparently this is really, really spicy, so I'm kind of dreading that a little bit. But then the ending was like very spicy, and I'm like, well, not very spicy, but for me, spicy. But it wasn't quite spicy enough, and I don't know if it was because the book was trying to keep towards, so you know, like you've got like your movie ratings. I don't know if there's like book ratings on age. Obviously there's young adult, but obviously in movies, like you've got universal for everyone, PG for kids, PG-13. I don't know if the book was trying to stay in a specific kind of category of like age related thing. But there was the spicy bits, and then like instead of going full blown committing to the spice, it was like, it wouldn't outright say, like, say if they was touching this part of the body, they wouldn't describe it with the words of that part. They would say something that was like more of a PG kind of version of it. And I'm like, well, if you're going to mention that, just go full out and say it. And then the last book that I've got to talk about now, Will Grayson. I picked this up on the 18th of January, and it took me till the 24th of February to finish it. So basically I finished this yesterday. No review apart from the rating. This was a 3.5 out of 5. You know, if the build up to the ending was how the entire book was, this would have been like a 4.5. I just realised I forgot to mention it was written by John Green and David Luthien. And when I mentioned in another part of one of the other reviews saying like I stopped going into books with expectations, this was one of the main reasons with that, because there's 2 different people called Will Grayson. I was expecting it to be like kind of almost like a double identity, not identity, but like a clone in a sense, expecting the same person to like meet themselves. But it wasn't. It was just another person. It was a Will Grayson meeting somebody else that was nothing like him. I just want to point out, they didn't meet until page 100 and something. This book is only like 308 pages, and I think it was like page 103 or something. This is why it slugged, and it took me like, I had the break for so long, because obviously if I read till about page 50 for the first day and then put it down for like 3 weeks, it's because obviously I didn't even get to the part where they'd met yet, and I was reading, I'm like, they're gonna meet. Each author wrote like one will each. There was another review that caught my eye, and like I said, I try not to let other people's reviews kind of influence my own opinion. John Green kind of is stuck in a version of like writing the same kind of character with the same kind of, basically there's just like a copy and paste character. It's like, it's just the same person with a different name, and it kind of makes sense now. It says number 1 as well. There is a sequel, and I don't have any intention to read the sequel, just want to point that out now. This is advertised as a young adult fiction contemporary. My problem with this was I gave it a 3.5, and that's because the second half of the book was the entire 3.5. Just before Will and Will met, I would have given this book a 0. I am not a person to not finish a book. This is why, when I mentioned earlier, like me picking up books, putting them down, I said this to my friend, and I mentioned this in another video, I think the last one. I'm not going to be the kind of person where I don't finish a book because I can't have it. I don't have it in me to be able to like start something and not finish it. So if I start a book, I have to finish it. I think I'm starting to get out of my young adult phase. Young adult was my comfy zone. I've not been reading for very long. I think young adult is quickly becoming like my kind of genre that I'm not really bothered about anymore. So far we've got a 4, a 4 and a 3.5. Spoiler alert, this might be something that you'll see at the end of this video in like a few seconds, or it might be a spoiler for next month. So also, I just want to point out, my friend they gave me 2 books. One for the Stephen King, don't forget, when I do have time, when I have time to pick up these challenges again, I'm going to get with a Stephen King book, but she got me a Stephen King book, and I'm pretty sure, I think this is the one she mentioned that she got one from a car boot or something. Got that, and she says that's to keep, and she also borrowed me, this is 6 stories. This might be in the March video, like what I've read in March, because I don't like to keep books for too long. So, and I've also got another book from her partner, my other friend, which they have borrowed me, and I still haven't read yet, so that might be in the March video as well. March might just be a video of like reading borrowed books. But what I did want to say is, the book that I'm currently reading, that I'm going to try and cram, I don't want to ruin it though, I don't want to rush it, because this is by T. Kingfisher, who wrote my favourite book of last year, The Hollow Places, which actually, if you've not watched my other videos, this was my favourite, one of my top 3. I think it's probably my favourite book of 2024. Not this one originally. The book originally was borrowed to me for the Halloween video that I made. It was on Lend for that video, and I had to give it back. And then I saw this book, and I'm like, I'm buying it. And it's purposely being brought for display purposes for when I get my new bookshelves, like my bookcases and stuff in the new house. The book that I'm currently reading is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. Maybe like on par with the other one. So far, my first impressions is this could potentially be another 5-star. I now have 3 top favourite books of all time. Like The Hollow Places, it was basically based on a book by Algernon Blackwood, I believe. I think I got the name right, and I think it was called The Willows. T. Kingfisher kind of adapted it to make The Hollow Places. I can't remember the author, but this was based on another book by whoever's on screen now, and the original book was called, I think it was The White People, and this is obviously based on that book as well. So, I don't know, I feel like T. Kingfisher just has a really good way of adapting work that's already been made and making it, in this case, I can't say better, because I haven't read the White People. Whereas with The Hollow Places, I read Algernon Blackwood's The Willows, and I'd obviously read Hollow Places. I preferred The Hollow Places, but obviously that was a full-on adaptation where these two, like the originals, are not like fully fledged books. If you want kind of like creepy forest kind of vibes, like monsters and kind of magic in the woods and stuff like that, kind of not fairy, because I'm currently off work at the minute. I'm on holiday, using like annual leave. My mum has been saying like, oh, what have you been up to? And I'm like, well, obviously I don't have a car at the minute, so not much but reading. I sat and read this till 2 o'clock this morning. But that's why my mum shouted at me, because she was like, oh, what have you been up to? And I was like, oh, nothing much, just staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning reading like scary books. I actually had a dream, guys. I don't have nightmares ever. Not ever, but I had a nightmare. I don't have nightmares. I have weird dreams sometimes, not all the time, but like last night I dreamed that I was still in bed, but I'd woke up in bed and I'd opened my eyes and there was a huge thing in the corner of my room, kind of like, well, basically it was hovering up and behind the bed, like looking down at me. This is very worth the 5-star that I've just realised that I didn't tell you. This is only the second, I believe. I'm not going to get it, it's wedged in again, but as you can see down here, The Humans by Matt Haig. Oh, I need to lose weight. This is the only second 5-star book that this is the only second book that I've given a 5-star review this year. And it's kind of weird thinking about it, how January I only got 1 5-star book, and now February has only got 1 5-star book. That is it for the video. Follow me on Twitter, X, whatever it is these days, Aaron Fails at X. I put all of my updates on there about what's going off in real life, if any of the videos are going to be late or anything. So if March is going to be late, then I'll put it on there. I don't have any files on me to give you a quick teaser. Ta-da! The bath has gone, guys. If you're going to be watching my my house vlog series, I don't really have enough footage at the minute for that to post another update video on the house stuff. But, touch wood, if my car actually passes if my car actually passes its MOT on Tuesday, I'll be back at the house. Instead of 10 minutes from here to there in the car in 10 minutes, it took an hour, like walking, bus, then walking. It was just, no. So I thought, I'm not doing that tomorrow, but next week, I should be at the house, like as of recording this now, as of obviously the last day in February. This is going well, isn't it? Like, oh yeah, look, I'll recommend you some books. I don't have any books to recommend. Oh, I'm trying to think off the top of my head what I can recommend. I just realised that Bloom, Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and kind of Will Grayson, I don't really have anything that's similar to recommend. Only because it's by the same author, partially. If you like Will Grayson, then I think you might like Looking for Alaska by John Green. Last but not least, I think I've already spoiled it. Well, I have, because obviously I've already spoke about it. But if you like Twisted Places by The Twisted Ones, why am I saying The Twisted Places? Combining two books here. If you like The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher, then I really think that you'll like The Holy Places by also T. Kingfisher. This one was good at making me imagine things that I could kind of mentally grasp, which made it kind of a bit creepier. Whereas this one made me kind of rethink the way that I imagine things in a certain way when it comes to the actual concept of horror. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like the video, then give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!